Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan, the YouTube channel that's not hosted by a sociopath, a narcissist, or a grifter. Speaking of all this stuff, I've long suspected that the meat industry has been paying off influencers on social media platforms to discredit veganism in various ways, spreading their propaganda, their misinformation talking points. But now we have specific proof of the meat industry paying off social media influencers to spread specifically misinformation about the supposed dangers of plant-based meat. So let me show you what we have here, the smoking gun. So I got most of my info from several articles on Fast Company, primarily this premium article, which I had to pay for. So if you're gonna leave any donations to help me, that'd be awesome. Anyway, the title is The Mystery, and it's not a big mystery, of the social media disinformation war on plant-based meats. Plant-based proteins are being attacked on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and Twitter. Is this a big meat psyops? Yes. And these attacks, which we'll get to in a moment, are the work of an outfit called the Center for Consumer Freedom. Like, consumer freedom what? To be spoon-fed corporate talking points from this corporate lobbyist group that's being paid to spread misinformation and ruin industries? Anyway, run by a Washington corporate lobbyist, Rick Berman. So this Washington corporate lobbyist began the CFF of his in 2019, which was a monumental year in plant-based meats, the IPO of Beyond Meat and the introduction of the plant-based Whopper were all huge successes. Anyway, all these companies, like say the meat makers and a lot of restaurants, were not excited about this turn of events. They want to keep the status quo of their profits, animal exploitation and cruelty. They want to keep that standard. So they funded Rick Berman's CFF, and that's how it started. And if you have a look at the CFF website, I mean, it's a complete joke. It's laughable of this just horrible misinformation. I mean, look at some of these categories down here. Junk science. It's a science about plant-based diets and environmental destruction that animal agriculture is having on the planet. Animal rights extremism. And look at here, this article about Bill Gates wants you to eat ultra-processed poop. Like, so much misinformation and nonsense to unpack there. First of all, I want to say Bill Gates isn't even vegan. He himself loves to eat his hamburgers and cheeseburgers. Second of all, did you notice this ultra-processed poop? Ultra-processed is a catchphrase that this misinformation company, CFF, has propagated. I've seen that phrase pop up so much more in the past couple years than I ever have, and now I know where it came from. So whenever if you see someone trying to attack plant-based foods or whatever as being ultra-processed, you'll know it came from this CFF lobbyist group. Well, let's move on to how Bill Gates is like a scapegoat of these anti-vegans. I mean, I've been seeing him unfairly get treated. I'm not a fan of Bill Gates at all, but like Joe Rogan, let's just check out Joe Rogan talking all this smack about Bill Gates just because he thought Bill Gates said that Joe and the rest of us should eat more plant-based meats.
Like a guy like that telling people about, he's got these breasts and this gut, and I'm like, this is crazy. You're one of the richest guys on earth. You have access to the best nutrients, the best, you could have an amazing trainer.
Yeah, good job, Joe, and the CFF, which I wouldn't be surprised is directly funding Joe for debunking plant-based meats. Yeah, Bill Gates has man boobs. Yeah. And then there's this shocking article on the CFF website. PETA admits vegan diets kill animals. Like, PETA is saying something that we all already know. We know that there's unintentional harm in all forms of agriculture. It just turns out that if you eat a plant-based diet, there's way less harm than if you're eating meats and dairy. And they spread misinformation about the environmental impacts of animal agriculture, saying, yeah, your diet has little to no impact on the environment, when it's a well-known fact that animal agriculture is responsible for more greenhouse gas emissions than all of transportation exhaust combined. And hey, I'm not just making this up like these idiots at CFF are. This comes from the United Nations. And these lobbyists have this other website that is equally amusing and full of complete crazy sensationalistic nonsense like filthy Beyond Meat factory is crawling with mold report. And this article here at the bottom, the top red flag ingredients in fake meat. Let's have a quick look at that. And here, once again, they warn you about ultra processed ingredients in meat. Crazy, horrible stuff for you, like soy. I didn't know soy was ultra processed, but ultra processed has no legal definition. It's just something they say and people just repeat it over and over again. Anyway, they warn, there's just so much misinformation here about the phytoestrogens in soy that can feminize males. Like, that's been debunked forever. So what the CFF's trying to do here, their strategy is try to incorrectly put this false belief in people's minds that plant-based meats are ultra processed and not healthy. Stay away from all these Impossible and Beyond Burgers. Even soy's bad for you too because it's ultra processed. And they're trying to contrast meat as being, hey, we're healthy. We're not ultra processed. And that's not necessarily true. There's many processed meats, such as America's favorite meat, perhaps, bacon, a very ultra processed food. It's considered a processed meat, which the World Health Organization considers all processed meats, even bacon, as a group 1A, a known carcinogen. And last time I checked, soy or Beyond Burgers were not on this carcinogen list. Want to see something that's truly ultra processed, which makes the ingredient list of an Impossible Burger seem like child's play? Check out ground beef here. I mean, it just shows you how disingenuous these meat industry funded lobbyist groups are. You know what else is not in my ultra processed soy? Antibiotics and growth hormones. But yeah, meat is clean eating, right guys? All right, so getting back to that Fast Company article, back in 2019, the same year that CFF was founded, another one of these shady political organizations was founded, the Clarity and Leadership for Environmental Awareness and Research Center, which was started by a Frank Mitloehner, an animal science researcher who knew Berman, actually. So these guys are total bros. The center, according to a confidentially leaked memo, was established for beef purveyors, the beef industry, to offer, quote, input and advice regarding communications and priorities of the beef industry. So it's a beef industry funded group that was created to spread misinformation that benefits the beef industry. Well, fortunately for me, I still have a pretty razor sharp memory at age 56, because I remember a couple years ago when I responded to this horrible, just misinformation riddled anti-vegan video propaganda piece for the meat industry made by the giant YouTuber What I Learned. I remember him interviewing this very same Frank Mitloehner. It was hilarious. Let me show you a bit of it.
To discuss this, I'm joined here with Professor of Animal Science and Air Quality Specialist at UC Davis, Dr. Frank Mitloehner.
All right, so fair enough. He enlisted the help of this expert, Professor Mitloehner. So I went to the UC Davis website to see what he's all about, to see if he's an environmental ecologist or something like that. No, he works in the Department of Animal Science. And I'm not going to hold that against him, but I'm going to look at his educational background. His undergraduate work was in Germany in animal science, PhD, Texas in animal science. And he's received funding from the animal agriculture businesses, such as the Pork Board and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Yeah, of course, nice move here, What I've Learned. In order to prove your point that eating animals is not bad at all for the environment, you found a professor who receives money from the Pork Board and beef industries. Good job. And not only does he receive money from them, as we now know, he's intentionally spreading misinformation on behalf and for the benefit of the meat and dairy industries. To prove my point here, check this out. In the same year he founded his Clear Institute here in 2019, on his Twitter, he started this trivia quiz. Let me show it to you. It's completely insane, comparing the ingredients of plant-based burgers with dog food, saying that all three are so similar that you need to be some kind of food expert to be able to distinguish the human foods of plant-based meats from dog food. Well, fortunately, Snopes fact-checked this and flagged it as mostly false. They have a really long analysis, but cut to the chase here. What's true? Impossible and Beyond Meat burgers share some ingredients with at least one brand of vegan, grain-free dog food selected for the comparison. What's false? The purported similarity between the three ingredients list is overstated. And what a coincidence. Shortly after this meat professor tweeted this trivia quiz comparing dog food to plant-based meats, social media influencers also repeated pretty much the same quizzes on their own social media platforms, including one certain disgraced carnivore doctor whose name I don't want to promote here, but it rhymes with the word faker. So the Fast Company article says how this anti-vegan meat campaign migrated to social media is murky, but multiple food industry sources say they believe the meat industry is actively working to tap into this channel of social media influencers. Why would the meat industry want to do this? Because surveys show that up to half of Americans get nutrition advice from social media. And another study reveals that 64% of today's teenagers claim that they'd surrender their right to vote before abandoning TikTok. And also, teens also trust science less than average Americans and are more likely to believe what they see on TikTok. And I love this quote from the article. Anything that strays from what's deemed natural, primal, or masculine is automatically deemed dangerous, observes Sarah Aniano, a disinformation analyst at the Anti-Defamation League's Center on Extremism, who has studied the online wellness community. Innovative food products are seen as a dystopian consequence of leftist politics. Yes, eating plant-based meats has become a culture war political issue now. And remember, at the beginning of this video, I promised you a smoking gun, and here's a pretty smoking gun. In the plant-based meat world, an often cited smoking gun is an email that Impossible Meats founder Pat Brown obtained in 2016. In it, the Cattlemen's Association, a trade industry group for the beef industry, asked Berman, remember our original bad lobbyist guy, what it would take to bury Impossible, which had yet to even launch its burger, if the war chest was, quote, unlimited. Meaning, if they had limitless resources at their disposal to bury plant-based meats before they ever got started, what could happen? Well, maybe this is what's been happening, because anyone who's been following, like, say, the stock price of Beyond Meat has seen that it's tanked over the past couple years. No coincidence, not too long after these misinformation campaigns that have been funded by the meat industry to bring down entire companies and make people actually lose their investment dollars as well. I mean, is this illegal? Do we have any lawyers out there that know anything about this? It sounds pretty shady. So I'm going to make it abundantly clear. I can't say with 100% certainty which of these influencers are for sure receiving money from these lobbyist groups that are funded by the meat industry, specifically to spread information, to promote the beef industry, and simultaneously bring down plant-based meats. But there is a budget that's been found for this specific purpose. So people are definitely receiving money, and it's happening. In researching this story, I mean, it just really brought to light all these things I really dislike about how politics works in our country, combined with misinformation, how these well-funded industries, the meat industries, are funding these corporate lobbyist groups to spread misinformation to these influencers who are under no regulations whatsoever about what they say, what nutrition claims they make. They can say whatever they want, and most of their followers are gullible and will believe, oh yeah, vegan food, ultra processed, meat natural, therefore meat good. And that's why we see all these people on social media talking about, oh, your vegan food's so ultra processed. Well, if you see that, point out, hey, look at your ground beef, look at your bacon, ultra processed, and those are carcinogens. Well, last time I checked, broccoli and soy and Beyond Burgers are not. So I want you guys to comment down below. What should we do? Do vegans need to organize into these, like, you know, these lobbyist groups as well? I know we have some already, but I don't think they're lobbying in these, like, shady ways. I mean, I want to get paid. Like, would you like me to receive money from some kind of lobbyist group funded by, like, plant-based meats and whatever to spread misinformation about the meat industries? I mean, I don't think I actually would do that, because I think I have so much to say just by debunking this just anti-vegan nonsense that's out there. I don't need to lie. Vegans don't need to lie. We don't. We have truth on our side. So comment, let me know what you think, your thoughts. I'd love to see what ideas we have to help fight the good fight. We shouldn't just lay down and take it, you know, we should do something. So let me know what your thoughts are on the matter. Hit like, subscribe, become a channel member, and remember, it doesn't suck being vegan.